Hey friends, how are y'all doing today? We're going to go ahead and just jump right into it. Welcome to Tarot Today. I'm Carrie Himba, and we will be diving into some shadow work today. We'll go over the astrology a little bit, mostly how it will affect us emotionally, okay? Now, the triggers and issues that we will be dealing with today: abandonment issues, regret. Bottom of the deck, familial wounding. That's usually how it goes. Let's go ahead and get into it. Hey, okay. So, if you're catching this live, hello, how are y'all doing today? I'm so glad for you to be here. Please feel free to take part in the chat, the live chat especially. If you catch this on the replay, please feel free to take part in the chat. This is a space for y'all. This isn't about me. This isn't about views. This isn't about likes. This is about a safe space. Think of it as a group session where we can all kind of meld together and share our stories and just really see how alike we really all are and find healing together. That's really one of the best ways to heal is in they keep giving me the word coven, but that's a Wiccan term, but that kind of energy, that collective energy where we put all of our specialties and all of our wounding and all of our experiences together to where we can be a conduit for healing for each other. Okay. Now let's go ahead and get started. We have flexible, to be fair in the reverse. Bottom of the deck, why in the reverse. So we're dealing with abandonment issues and regret. Okay. So there's an energy here and the underlying energy is familial wounding. So this has something to do with family issues. Abandonment issues with regret means that you're blaming yourself. First and foremost, it's not your fault. Okay. You cannot control the actions of other people. All right. So there may have been, this is giving me the energy of familial divorce, or, one of the parents not being in the home, or both parents not being in the home, those kind of things. And it could really show up in any way, however it resonates with you. Now we have flexible and to be fair in the reverse. I feel like you kind of had to deal with it. You just kind of had to deal with it. And it wasn't fair. And I think it's one of those things where it's almost like you couldn't deal with it. You couldn't deal with it. There was something that you couldn't deal with, and you feel like whoever this person was that left because you couldn't deal with it, because you couldn't take on the burdens, because you couldn't take on the responsibility that was placed on you. And I don't even think there was a desire to have that responsibility. You know what I'm saying? I don't think the responsibility was yours. And with familial wounding and the underlying energy, that's really giving me like ancestral wound energy. That's kind of some stuff that goes further back than even maybe your grandparents. Okay. Now we have why in the reverse here in the underlying energy as well. I want to get a couple more cards before we speak on that. Okay. Hello, the official ambassador of the mulatto race. Nice to meet you. Oh, I'm glad that you're here. Feel free to take part in the chat. This is for you, okay? And if you're catching on the replay, like I said, feel free to comment when you feel comfortable, okay? Now, we also have death and magic in the reverse. When this card comes up in the reverse for me, it signifies, because you can't come back from death, right? So it signifies to me that the process of loss is not happening, or it's in a stagnant place. Okay, because there's transmutation that comes from the loss of something. You have to lose something in order to gain something, right? Anytime we just think about plants and animals, right? When plants die, they go back into the earth and they're recycled into more energy for something else, whether it be a plant, another plant, an animal, a microbe, whatever, a person. So there's this perpetual cycle of recycling that goes on our planet, and that's really significant to all energy, right? You have to lose something in order to gain something, okay? And that's not specific to whatever you're doing. So, you don't always have to lose the same thing, but you understand what I'm saying? The energy is the same. Now, internally, we have iris communication in the upright, bottom of the deck, new beginnings. Well, I definitely feel like you have somewhat of an understanding of the energy that you've been experiencing and that you've been dealing with, especially dealing with your family. So I don't feel like this is news to you. And I feel like there is a deep desire to do something differently. I like to share stories about myself, not because this is about me, because it's not. I'm doing my own type of healing journey. But I like for y'all to see that really a lot of this stuff is universal. So for me personally, I have a lot of ancestral wounding, specifically on the maternal side. And that's something that, you kind of just start to thinking about how the misery just perpetuates itself through your family line, and you see how it compounds itself on top of itself, on top of itself, on top of itself, as one of your family members gets older, and you start realizing, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that person. And you can do it one of two ways. You can decide that you're going to control any and everything around you and create even more misery, or you can decide to look within the self and see what changes you can make in yourself that was passed on to you by your family members. Now, I do feel like it's been hard to let this go. Forgiveness has been very hard for this abandonment that you felt during this moment in time. I also feel like maybe there was something that you said. You may have even stood up for yourself. And you may have felt like that is what pushed this person away. So there's guilt here, even though it's not showing up in the trigger cards. There's a lot of guilt here. A lot. This part is always the hardest for me because it's the deepest emotionally. This is when we really tap into where we are and how it feels. And for me, I'm going to tell you what this energy, it feels very stuck, very stagnant, but there's also a sense of disappointment in the self. And when we come here, we heal things by feeling things, right? You cannot manifest by tricking yourself mentally. You have to align yourself emotionally and mentally. And what that means is you have to actually believe what you say. You can't just say, I manifest $1 million and I'm going to have $1 million because I know I can have $1 million. If you don't believe that in your soul, then it's not going to work for you. You know that story about Jim Carrey when he wrote himself $1 million check? And then I don't remember how long it was. It wasn't very long. And he ended up making $1 million off of something. I can't remember what it was, but that's a common story that's told, especially on the internet, when it comes to the power of manifestation. He believed that he was going to have that $1 million. He believed it. Okay. And I say all of this to say this: when you have trapped energy, when you have, and emotions are energy, just like everything else, it's a part of the nervous system. When you have trapped emotions and trapped trauma within the energy field, within the chakra system, that's what you're manifesting from. Okay, so we have to feel this. And that's why this part of the reading is so important, because we have to feel this. Now, once again, we have abandonment issues here. There is some sort of separation that's happened, and that's contributing to this energy. But let's go ahead, and I think you're pretty clear on that. Spirit's letting me know that you understand that. You're a very smart cookie. All right. So we have the Three of Swords. I'm going to go ahead and lay these out first before I start showing y'all the cards. Lots of uprights in the past, so that's good. Knight of Swords in the reverse, the Magician. Oh, I'm running out of space. Hold on. Let me fix these. The Emperor in reverse, the King of Wands. Ooh, the Devil. Somebody's triggering the shit out of you. And the Hierophant in the reverse with the Empress in the upright. This could signify... Oh, I just dropped all my cards. Hold on. This could signify a maternal figure. It doesn't have to be your mother, but somebody, could be a man, somebody that represents that type of energy for you. Sorry, I flipped her upside down. All right, so in the recent, and well, it's not really the recent past. It's really however it applies to you. So we have the Three of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Six of Cups, okay? In the past, I think you felt that pain. You experienced that pain. And I think you started working on, you know, the things that happened because you wanted to have a positive outlook on what happened in your life. There's a lot of influencing energy here. You wanted to take part in what happened in your past in a positive way. So you were able to sit with that energy, and that's really good. That's healthy. All right. Now in the current energy, there's a lot of frustration. There's a lot of resentment, a lot of disconnect spiritually. And when I say spiritually, it's not about religion. It's really just about what you feel and being connected to the divine source. Okay. Now I do feel like you have control over things. So this is not an energy of where you're just like letting your life like explode around you. But I do feel like somebody is going to trigger you with their confidence, actually. They're in the upright, so I don't see them having malicious intentions at all. Bottom of the deck, we have the Five of Pentacles in reverse, more abandonment issues. I'm really getting a lot of maternal energy here. All right, so we had a ton jump out as influencing energy. Knight of Wands, Five of Wands, Six of Cups, Two of Swords. So the past keeps showing up with the Emperor in reverse again. Control issues. I get this energy of really wanting to control the situation. You know, there was a desire for fun and just really wanting to enjoy your life. This also could signify like being a teenager, maybe that time frame. You know, I'm feeling like sports energy for some reason and just really enjoying life and all of the things that kind of come along with it, you know, and this is the happy parts of your childhood. Just being, you know, free and having things that you wanted to do and doing those things because they felt good and, you know, really having some really good alone time and being able to kind of process things. And I feel like somebody left. And what that did was that triggered this sense of control. Because here, this is a very carefree energy. Very carefree, very, you know, I'm going to do what I want and I'm going to, you know, hang out with my friends and I'm going to play sports and, you know, I'm going to take part in the debate team, you know, that kind of energy. Very, very well-rounded, very, even honestly, a pretty positive childhood, like smaller childhood, possibly. Didn't have to be. Could be just a rose-colored, rose-tinted glasses too. But whenever this separation happened, this abandonment, this guy showed up. And it's being triggered in the future as well, in the near future, okay, by this person. All right? A sense of extreme control, fear, dominance. All right. Let's go ahead and clarify these, and then we'll get deeper into the energy. I do feel like you stood up for yourself, though. Oh, here comes the reversals. Knight of Swords. Then we have the Two of Pentacles as the final bottom of the deck. Just really trying to enjoy life. I think you're really ready for, the heaviness to just dissipate, to be honest with you. So in the past, I think maybe you made some poor decisions that really led to some disappointment and heartbreak, missed opportunities that really, really hit you pretty hard. And I think this is one of those relationships where you were blindsided by the separation. It's one of those things where it's like everything was going good. Like, I'll use me as an example. I remember when my mom brought me and my sister into the living room to tell me that her and my dad were getting divorced for the first time because they married each other twice. But it was so weird because I don't even remember my parents fighting. There was a couple times, but all relationships have their shit, right? And I remember sitting in the living room so vividly, and I knew what she was going to say before she even said it. But on paper and on the outside, like if you would have asked me 2 weeks before that, do you think your parents will get divorced? I'd be like, fuck no, my parents are not getting divorced. I had no idea. So that's the energy, this energy of being blindsided. But it's almost like you probably kind of knew. You probably kind of knew. But there was a decision you made. And I feel like you think you're the problem. I don't think so. I don't really think so. And there was this is where the control showed up. You see this energy, this carefree, beautiful energy that we just talked about. You wanted that back so badly. So badly. And that's where the control started slipping in. Because things were going great in your eyes. This also does not have to be about your childhood. This could be current as well. So just apply it how it resonates. Either way, to me, in your mind, you feel like you made a decision that changed the trajectory of this relationship, whether you did or not. That's what you believe in your energy field. Now, in the current energy, you are manipulating the energy with frustration and anger and just psychotic forward movement. And I don't mean you're like psychotic. It's just this just intense energy of wanting to move forward. Okay? And it's a little emotionally manipulative, all right? We all manipulate things. That's just a part of the human experience. So it's not a judgment. And I think this sense of impatience and this desire to move forward, you're not connected to your higher self. You're not connected to the divine source, to God, to the universe. Physically, I'm not saying you don't believe or, you don't have to believe, but I'm not saying that. There is no macro view. You're very, very micro focused, which in certain tasks is important. If you're baking a cake, you want to be focused on each individual ingredient, right? But in the grand scheme of life, a lot of times you have to pull your energy back and see things as a whole. And you're not doing that. And what's happening is it's because you're trying to speed through the process, right? This is that control and that desire to feel good again, to find this energy again that we just talked about. And I think feeling in control releases a lot of burden off of you. You feel like if you can control the situation or any situation, and remember, when we talk about shadow work, we're talking about the way past traumas and past experiences affect our current energy. So in the current energy, you're functioning from a place of control because you don't want to feel a sense of loss again. And you don't want to feel this sense of regret because it's too painful. And it's not that you don't really so much want to experience regret. I mean, who does, right? You don't want to relive this experience. You don't want to relive this experience. And that's understandable. Who does, right? So what happens is you feel like you try to take control of your life in order for that energy not to repeat itself so that you don't have to experience that past energy again. So you can sit in this energy of the past was great. You understand what I'm saying? So it's also leaning into a bit of avoidance. Now, this energy in the near future is going to take you to a very controlling place with very good intentions. The intention of, I just want peace. I'm going to control the situation to the fullest of my ability, past exhaustion, just so that I can have some peace. Okay. And so I see you moving into situations. This is reminiscent of fear of confrontation, where in your mind, you're fearing that confrontation is going to end in abandonment. And so what happens is, and I'm going to tell you, experiencing a trigger is no freaking fun. It is a fight or flight mode kind of energy, and it's very uncomfortable. And sometimes, it can be quite painful emotionally. But you don't want to be triggered because you don't want to re-experience that sense of loss. You don't want to re-experience this influencing energy. You don't want to experience that anymore. You don't want to re-experience that because that was that painful for you. And so what this translates into, it's like when you get into a confrontation with somebody, because you are so terrified of that person leaving, you would rather, there is no solution to the problem. You're just leaving. Problem still there, just leaving, which is not healthy for you. That causes suffering in your relationships. That causes internal suffering for you, because then we have guilt and more regret. And, this perpetual cycle, right? Now, somebody, I feel like this is one person. It could be more than one. There's water and fire here. So it could be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, could be anybody, but it's really more so about the energy. Somebody here that really cares about you. And even though these are kings, it doesn't have to be male. This is, for me, the kings are energy that's coming towards you. It's the progressive energy. Queens are receptive in my readings, my general readings. So there's somebody here who's very confident, who also really cares about you. And I feel like you're having issues. This is really giving me relationship vibes. So it's almost like this energy is affecting your relationships. And these are like genuinely good people. These are people who genuinely care about you. They're just quite confident, and they know how they feel, and they know what they think, and they have drive and desire and all of those kind of things. And it's almost like a too good to be true kind of energy. And so that extreme sense of control, that fear of conflict, all of those things, fear of confrontation, turns into a disconnect from your joy. A deep disconnect from your joy. And that causes suffering. Okay? But the core of it all is that you blame yourself. You feel like whatever you did caused this separation. And so now when things are going really, really good, you're scared they're going to leave you. I want you to know it's not your fault that this relationship ended or this person left. It's not your fault. People make their own choices, and nothing that we can say or do or be is going to change the way somebody is and the decisions that they make. You are good enough. You're not going to run away every person. You're doing it on purpose, to be honest. And that's the catch-22, right? In this deep desire to not lose somebody, you push them away. because you don't want to feel the loss. It's not even so much about losing them, because if you don't connect to somebody, right, when you lose them, it doesn't hurt as bad. But when you connect to somebody and they leave, that's where the suffering and the pain and the excruciating experience derives itself from. And I think you want things to be the way that they were. You want to return back to a place of happiness and joy and freedom. That's what you're searching for. And you can have that. You can have that. Okay? That is available for you. Because guess what? This person, this person right here, this person still exists. Still exists. That child that exists within you, it still exists. You know, the world beats us up, and people in this world do it too. But guess what? This person's still there, and they're waiting for you to find them again. Emotionally, there's a lot of blockages here. There's a lot of emotional manipulation. And that can be detrimental to relationships as well. This is where we project our pain onto other people. Very attacking, not really attacking. Like, this is not saying you're like a mean person. This is just saying, like, very reactive, very defensive, very like, what'd you say? That kind of stuff. And it's because you don't want to be the bad guy. Because the idea of being the bad guy and causing someone to leave you will make you relive this experience. Now, overall, you're very avoidant of this energy because you're disconnected from your higher self, from the joy of the divine, from God's love and promise, from the universal connection. You're disconnected from that. Very disconnected from that. And when you're not connected to that, you're not connected to spirit, you're not connected to your intuition, and it makes going through life pretty hard. This is probably one of the best things I ever did for myself. And I'm not telling you to join a religion. Please don't join a cult, but find what works for you. I love to quote Confucius, and I don't quote him directly, but I love to quote Confucius when he says that a ritual means nothing if you're not connected to it emotionally. And that is exactly, sorry, somebody's texting me. And that is exactly, I think, one of the biggest things that you might want to start doing is find what type of spiritual practice really connects with you. For me, I take cleansing baths, and I have an altar that I pray to with all of my little things on it and my candles. And I burn loose incense, usually rose and maybe a little cedar for abundance. I may do a video on that one day for people who are interested, but it doesn't really matter. It's just, you could pray. Just get on your knees and pray. Do a rosary if that's your thing. Do your Buddha. I think, what is it? The Buddhist. Oh, I don't want to say it wrong, so I'm not going to say any other examples that I don't know specifically. But you get my drift, right? And your energy, it's just the sense of control, which, like I said, it's not that you're being like a jackass. It's just you feel like you have to have control of your life in order to not feel the heaviness of it. Because when you control the outcomes of situations, you know what the outcome's going to be, and you're not going to be blindsided like you were here. You get what I'm saying? Now, intuitively, I think you know that you do this. I think you know that you do this. Just like you know that you don't want to feel like this anymore, that you want to feel abundance, that you want to feel growth, that you want to receive. But this is the divine masculine in freaking overdrive, like kicking ass and taking names. And it's all for the sense of peace, which is interesting, right? So causing yourself all kinds of anguish so you can have peace. And the lesson here, this is the interesting part of the lesson. The lesson here, people love you. There are people here that love you, that want to be around you, that connect with you, that want to create with you, that want to share their lives with you. Friends, family, loved ones, intimate partners, wherever. You find love in everything and everybody. I would say pets, but pets too. Now this, you have to release this. You have to. This sense of utter obsessive control, because it is stealing your joy. It's stealing it. You know, it's crazy. I never understood what joy was until I got pretty far along in my healing journey. And I started removing the blockages and the trauma and the pent up emotion that was inside of me, especially when I quit drinking. You know, I wasn't an alcoholic per se, but I was a binge drinker. And it was so I didn't have to feel things, which is funny because it made me feel them even worse. And then I made really stupid decisions, right? But when I was able to finally start actually feeling things and I started removing a lot of those blockages and I started actually connecting to joy, it felt weird. It was like, wow, this is what joy feels like. Just a sense of contentment. Doesn't mean that you don't get mad. It doesn't mean that you don't get sad. It doesn't mean that bad shit doesn't happen. It's really just all in how you deal with the bad shit and the good shit. You know, you have a greater sense of gratitude and you don't really sweat the small stuff so bad. And your faith can grow. And I think that's one reason why this is really important, because faith is definitely connected to joy. And faith is not necessarily connected to a higher being or anything like that. Faith is just understanding that everything's going to be okay. You're going to be fine. You're going to survive. You're going to live through it, because guess what? You've been through so much already up to this point and you powered through that shit because you're a boss. You're a boss. Let me use my Aries terminology. You're a boss. Now, really the best way to interact with this energy is just to understand that we all make fucked up decisions. Excuse my language. We all make messed up decisions. You know, we all make mistakes. Forgive yourself, honey. It's okay. Just forgive yourself. You know? And honestly, if this relationship was working out the way that you thought it was, it wouldn't have happened the way that it did. That relationship was supposed to leave your life for whatever reason, or the change, we'll just say, if this person didn't just like completely leave your life. The change was necessary. That was spirit protecting you from whatever this person was bringing in. That was a hard pill for me to learn to swallow, but it's true. It's very true. And I think once you take control of your emotional space, you'll be able to move through this energy a lot faster, as well as connecting to spirit and your higher self. It'll move you through this energy a lot faster because, like I said in the beginning, this is real stagnant energy. And there's nothing wrong with wanting your peace. Nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with setting boundaries. But what you got to do is do it in a way that's diplomatic, benevolent, almost kind of good for the gander. You understand what I'm saying? Like, an example would be, okay, we'll go back to my previous example where, you know, fear of confrontation, you just run from every argument. Controlling your peace is having those tough conversations. And then if that person is not receptive to a healthy conversation about it, then you set up your boundary and you say, you know what? I love you. I care about you, but this is not a productive conversation. So just call me whenever you're ready to have one of those. And then that's when you pull back. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with boundaries. So don't get that twisted. And just release this shit altogether. Just release this shit altogether. You know, just have more discipline over over yourself when it comes to that controlling energy. This is Saturn energy. Saturn comes in to teach us responsibility. Okay? And you have to take responsibility for your own joy. All right? It comes from you, and I know that sounds cheesy or whatever, but it's the truth. That's why people say it, because it's the truth. Your joy comes from you. All right. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to do? I do want to do a little bit of moon, what I like to call the moon cast. Let me see if I can pull this up. There it is. All right. We're going to do the moon cast for today. I actually meant to do that in the beginning, but you know what? It's whatever. So today is Monday, the 21st. The moon is in Gemini. The energy will be very curious, very communicative, will be a lot more social in the morning. Now, towards the end of the day, middle of the day, the moon is going to go into Cancer, which is going to bring on a lot more of a sensitive yet nurturing energy. We'll be inclined to emotional curiosity this morning. So if you're catching this on the replay in the morning, this is a good time to really kind of dive into that energy. Towards the evening will be more, about family and nurturing those kind of relationships. Our focus today is going to be balance on relationships, which is probably one reason this reading came up. And it's a good time for expanded emotional growth. So it's a really good time for really diving into that stuff like this, and don't just watch my video. Find somebody else who does something similar and really dive in. If you read tarot cards yourself, it's a good time to do a good spread on yourself. So in the morning, pretty good energy, very optimistic, social, really ready to talk. It's a good time to really talk about emotions too, right? Like if you have a therapist, go see him this morning, because it's a really good time for that. Now, towards the end of the evening, we're going to get real sensitive. So be careful, be protective over your energy. Think of Cancer energy, that crab. And we're going to start feeling it, I guess is a good way to put it. There might cause a little bit of confusion as well, and just feeling vulnerable, overwhelmed, and maybe even looking back at things with rose-colored glasses. Okay. So my suggestion for, this evening is to really just, I'd stay at home if you can. If you can't, I mean, you got to do what you got to do. But this is a really good time to watch like a sappy love story and cry. And, I don't encourage like eating a pint of ice cream or nothing, because I'm really big on fueling the body. But, just feel it. This is a good night to feel it. So get your best friend, talk about it, love on each other, have a good time. All right, so we're going to get one more card. I keep sticking to my cards, and then I'm going to let y'all go. Now, this is going to be some advice from the power of surrender. I love these cards. They're so good for that divine feminine energy. All right. Surrender to the magic of who you are. We all have magic in us, even in the mundane aspects of life. Remember that you are a magical being with a uniqueness and worth that comes from just being you. All right, and the hidden message in all of this is surrender your belief in scarcity. I love when that happens. You saw me shuffling. I shuffled earlier too. The universe is asking you to open to the infinite nature of abundance. In this way, you can remove blocks in your life and succeed beyond your wildest dreams. So that's this energy right here. Abundance and joy. And you have the potential to do that. You're very capable. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Please like and subscribe. This is a brand new channel, and all of your support really helps connect me to the people who need to hear this message. Once again, if you catch this on the replay, please interact in the comments. I will try to respond to everybody that I can. And let's just grow this community together. I love you and have a wonderful, wonderful day.